Okay. Working together as a community, our mission is to welcome all and provide opportunities for our students in a safe and accepting learning environment to become creative, empathetic, resilient, and who choose to make an impact. The Dover Board of Education acknowledges that the law of this state establishes that members of the public, including members of the board, have the right to record public board meetings using audio or video recording devices, provided that the act of recording does not interfere with the business of this public board meeting. While the recordings may be used in preparation of minutes, they do not substitute for official legally approved minutes. Please be advised that audio and/or video images will be maintained by the Secretary to the Board of Ed and will be posted on the district website. This meeting, which is hereby called to order, is in compliance with the notice requirements of the law. Public notice was posted in the office of the Board of Education and communicated to the municipal clerk, the Daily Record, and the Star Ledger on December 23rd, 2020. Pledge of Allegiance, can we stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And can we please have a moment of silence? Thank you. I will report the results of the annual school election that was held on November 3rd, 2020. They are as follows. Ms. Melissa Giraldo won a term for 3 years. Dr. Krista Sainer won a term for 3 years. And Ms. Diana Grisales won a term for 3 years. I can now swear in the newly elected board members. Each board member should have the required oath of office for school members. We can stand once again, the three of us and myself. And if we would like to read it all together, that seems to be the most efficient way to do. So anybody can start. And
1 second, I'm trying to bring it up. I apologize.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm having a hard time finding the attachments in the Google Drive, so give me 1 second, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
It should be under the, getting there? Okay.
Sorry, I tried to save paper and not printing, and now it's not letting me go to the shared drive. So 1 second. I'm in my drive instead of the shared drive, so that's where I'm struggling. Thank you for your patience, everyone. I finally have it. Okay, I'm ready. Thank you.
If everyone would like to start it together, we can all read it.
Start with the title, right?
Yes, I state your name, do solemnly swear.
Okay. I, Diana Grisales. You're on mute, Dr. Sainer. That's because I took so long.
Sorry.
Let's start again. I, Diana Grisales,
I, Krista Sainer,
I, Melissa Geraldo,
do
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
of the
of the United States,
and the
Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that
I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to
and
the governments
established
in the United
United
States
States
and this
and this
state
state
under
under
the
the authority of the
of
people.
the people. So help me God.
I, Diana Grisales,
Krista Sainer,
Melissa Geraldo,
do solemnly
swear
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member
of a
of the
Board
Board
of
of
Education,
Education, and I am
and that I am
not
not disqualified
as a voter pursuant to
RS
RS 19
colon
4
1
1,
nor
nor
disqualified
disqualified due to a conviction of a crime or
or
offense
offense
listed
in
in
NJSA
NJSA
18A
18A colon
12-1,
1, and that I
I
will
will faithfully, impartially,
impartially and
and justly
justly
perform
perform
all the
the
duties of that office
office according to the best of
my
my ability.
So help me God.
God.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. If you could do me a favor and sign your form and email it to me, scan it, email it to me, or drop it off, and then I will sign it and give you back a copy. Thank you very much. The election of officers. Oh, you know what? Let me take a roll call. We have the full board. Roll call. Ms. Catano.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
Here.
Ms. Giraldo.
here.
Ms. Grisales.
Present.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ms. Mullen.
Here.
Mrs. Nutting.
Here.
Ms. Ruiz.
Present.
Dr. Sainer.
Present.
Ms. Viveros.
Present.
Great, thank you. For the election of officers, I will quickly read the first couple paragraphs from the board bylaws that explains how we elect the president and the vice president. Because some school districts do it a little differently than others, so I will read ours. So this is right from the bylaws. The Board of Education shall organize at its first regular meeting by electing one of its members as president and another as vice president. Any member may place a member's name in nomination. A second is not required. Election for each office will be conducted by a vote when the nominations for that office are closed. The candidate receiving a majority vote of the members of the board present and constituting a quorum will be elected to office. Voting shall take place by verbal roll call after nominations are closed. When more than one person has been nominated, the board will vote on candidates in the order in which they were nominated. In the event no candidate receives a majority vote of the members of the board present and constituting a quorum, the procedure shall continue until someone receives a majority vote. So for the election of president, are there any nominations for the office of president? Ms. Mullen,
I nominate Dr. Krista Sainer, President.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other motions for nomination for president? Dr. Sainer?
I respectfully decline the nomination. Thank you, Mrs. Mullen, that I appreciate that so much. And I would like to nominate Diana Grisales, please.
Okay, are there any other nominations for the office of president? If there are none, can I have a motion and a second to close the nominations for the office of president?
So
I
moved.
second.
I saw Ms. Viveros and I heard Ms. Catano for motion and second. Roll call vote to close the nomination. Ms. Catano,
Yes.
Ms. Giraldo,
Yes.
Ms. Grisales,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Mullen,
Yes.
Ms. Nutting,
Yes.
Ms. Ruiz,
Yes.
Dr. Sainer,
Yes.
Ms. Viveros.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I will now take a verbal vote for board president for Ms. Grisales. Please just answer yes or no when I call your name. Ms. Catano,
Yes.
Ms. Giraldo,
Yes.
Ms. Grisales,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Mullen,
Yes.
Ms. Nutting,
Yes.
Ms. Ruiz,
Yes.
Dr. Sainer,
Yes.
Ms. Viveros.
Yes.
Okay, on the motion of Ms. Viveros, second by Ms. Catano, be it resolved that in accordance with NJSA 18A:15-1, the town of Dover Board of Education and County of Morris, State of New Jersey elects Ms. Grisales as president of the Board of Education effective immediately and until the organization meeting as prescribed by law. Congratulations, Ms. Grisales.
Thank you all.
That is actually a motion on the agenda, so I'm not used to having two different motions for that. I apologize. So let's take a motion and a second and vote on having Ms. Grisales accept the office.
I don't think that's, I don't think that's, it's not
Okay,
really.
it must be redundant. It was taken
Yeah.
from last year's. Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Crute. Ms. Grisales gets to take over and do the election of vice president.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mr. Minkowitz. If I may
Thank you.
just take a few minutes just to kind of address the board. I am humbled that this team believes that I have the correct skill set to continue to being the chair of this board. I thank you all for that belief. Together, we will continue to ensure our policies, approvals, and the role is focused on building equity, safety, well-being, and social emotional student achievement progress for all of our students. And so I'm very, again, humbled that we are, again, embarking on this adventure. I know it takes a lot of time from all of you, so I'm very appreciative that you volunteered to take this and to do this for our students, but I'm also, and at the same time, I am grateful that you have that faith in me, and that as well as holding Dr. McLaughlin accountable for his role as chief administrator. And so I am very content that we are able to continue to work as a team to do this. So thank you all. Okay. So is there, let's see where we're at. Now we must declare nominations in order for the position of vice president. Are there any motions for nomination for the office of vice president? Ms. Viveros, and then I saw Ms. Mullen, and then Ms. Catano.
I would like to make a motion to nominate Dr. Sainer as vice president.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there another, we go through all the motions first, right, to nominate? Yes.
Correct.
Is there another nomination? Ms. Mullen?
I would like to nominate Tia Nutting, our Board of Ed person for the.
Perfect. Thank you, Ms. Mullen.
I'm sorry,
And-
who's the nomination?
Ms. Mullen has nominating Ms. Nutting for vice
Okay.
president. Are there, I believe, Ms. Catano, I saw also Ms. Catano.
Yeah, I was nominating Dr. Sainer as well.
Okay, all right. Are there any other nominations for vice president? Okay,
So we could take a motion and a second to close the nomination.
correct. Is there a
So-
motion to close nomination? Ms. Royce?
Sorry, Ms. Grisales, so moved.
Motion to move to close nominations. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Miller, I saw his hand and his mouth move saying second. Is that correct? Perfect. You're on mute, Mr. Miller. Okay. You got that, Mr. Minkowitz?
Yes. Vote to close the nomination. Ms.
Voice.
Catano,
Yes.
Ms. Giraldo,
Yes.
Ms. Grisales,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Mullen,
Yes.
Ms. Nutting,
Yes.
Ms. Ruiz,
Yes.
Dr. Sainer,
Yes.
Ms. Viveros.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so then we go ahead and take the votes now for each nomination. The first nomination was Dr. Sainer?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we have a first and a second for that.
Yes. So I'll ask for Dr. Sainer and it will be yes or no vote. And then I'll ask for Ms. Nutting and that will be yes or no vote.
Yeah,
So this is
Right, you do Dr. Sainer first,
right.
and if she gets the majority of votes, then that will be the end of it.
Okay.
That-
Okay.
That's the way it goes.
Okay. Okay. Vote for Dr. Sainer. Ms. Catano,
Yes.
Ms. Giraldo,
Yes.
Ms. Grisales,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Mullen, you're on mute.
No, sorry.
That's right. Thank you. Ms. Nutting,
No.
Ms. Ruiz,
This is a tough one. Can we have co-presidents and a vice president?
Can we have two? Yes, can we have
The
two?
stars. Yes.
Dr. Sainer,
Yes.
Ms. Viveros.
Yes.
The vote is 7 yes and 2 no. So Dr. Sainer is elected vice president.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. It is Miss Nutting has done all these training and I can't wait next year for the board to really see Miss Nutting flourish in her leadership and as a chair of that I've seen as past president that she's done. So I look forward to that. And thank you, Miss Nutting, for accepting the nomination. I look forward to seeing you there as well. Thank you. Okay, without further ado, I want to make sure we get through what we need to today. Now we move to the public welcome and participation, correct? Am I missing anything?
No, that looks correct.
Okay, perfect. Okay. The board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on school matters. To ensure fair and orderly expression of such comment, each statement shall be held to a time period of 3 minutes. Public comments limited to items on this agenda should be entertained for approximately 30 minutes upon the discretion of the presiding officer. Since this is a since this is a virtual meeting occurring during the COVID-19 shutdown, public comment has been solicited through the Google form on the district website. Please understand that public comment portions of our agenda are not structured as question and answer sessions, but rather they're offered as opportunities to share your thoughts with the board. The board may or may not respond to public comments. However, all comments are considered and will be investigated and addressed as appropriate. Please be courteous and mindful of the rights of others when providing comments. Comments may not be abusive, obscene, threatening, or irrelevant. Please understand that students and employees have specific legal and privacy protections. The board is not permitted to respond in public to comments about students or employees. Please be advised that you are commenting at your own risk. Any public comments that are directed at a particular individual or individuals could subject you to legal liability for defamation. Do we have any participants?
We have one. There's one in the Zoom session and there are no public comments on the Google Sheet.
Just so you know, I am unable to see the attendees as we usually have. And you said no one on the forms submitted any comments, correct, Dr. McLaughlin?
Correct. There's no one on the forms.
Okay. All right.
But we do have one person in attendance.
And that person in attendance, if you're interested in commenting, can you raise your hand, please, on the feature at the bottom? Okay. All right, perfect. Okay, then with that, then we close the public comment section of this special meeting. If we move on to, are there any board members that want to comment on the public comment section? Okay. Appointments. So we're looking at the appointments that we do annually for our board. Is there a motion from the board to recommend approving the following, which is A through all the way down to, I guess I keep going. Oh, P, yep, all the way to A through P.
So moved.
Ms. Mullen moved the
Second.
motion, is there, and Mr. Miller second. Are there any board comments? Questions? Okay, perfect. Mr. Minkowitz, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. I will, I'll call Ms. Grisales last because I'm used to calling the board president last. Ms. Catano,
Yes.
Ms. Giraldo,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Mullen,
Yes.
Ms. Nutting,
Yes.
Ms. Ruiz,
Yes.
Dr. Sainer,
Yes.
Ms. Viveros,
Yes.
Ms. Grisales.
Yes. And just to clarify for, especially for Ms. Hidalgo and for our public, these are typical, Mr. Minkowitz, if you can just quickly, these are typical assignments that we do on an annual basis, correct?
Yes, they're required. They're required appointments in regulation.
Thank you. We move on to the committee assignments. One of the things I wanted to talk about is we are in negotiations. You know, after I spoke to Mr. Crude, it is important that we try to keep the negotiations the best that we can in that team for consistency, obviously. But I do welcome all board members to kind of voice their preference in committees. In the orientation with Ms. Giraldo, Dr. McLaughlin, Dr. Sainer, and myself encouraged her to want to join the policy because it really would give her the best, right, and the most work. But it would really help her kind of get acquainted the most to the team and the process. So one of you from policy maybe can switch over to another. Typically, it is by the bylaws that I, as the chair, you're chosen that you chose, that I assign them. I learned from a very experienced person that we really, I'd really rather hear obviously your desires and what areas you want to work. And I think that's great to do that instead of kind of me just assigning it strategically. Typically, I know that many other boards do it right now here in the moment. How would the board feel comfortable? Do you want to just email me what you want to go, where you want to move to, or do you want to voice it here and make a decision right away? I see Ms. Ruiz.
Ms. Grisales, I propose that we leave negotiations as is and at least have that set so we don't interrupt the schedule that is already set and can set further dates and hopefully wrap up negotiations. And just speaking for myself, I'm happy to be appointed wherever I'm needed and have no preference as to committees.
Thank you.
And we can do the others on email if folks do have specific preferences they'd like to share.
Okay. Those in negotiations, do you have any feelings about leaving the committee as is, for or against? Ms.
I
Nutting?
think it will, oops, sorry.
1 second, Ms. Nutting?
I'm willing to stay on negotiations to
Okay.
proceed with our
Okay.
routine as we're already made some dates in advance.
Yes, thank you. And Ms. Catano?
I feel the same way. It's better if we leave it as is.
Okay, perfect. All right. Any other board members have any objections to that you really want to join negotiations? Okay. All right. We'll leave it at that. So that committee will be set as of tonight. Thank you, everyone. All right, Ms. Ruiz, I will kind of take in consideration with Dr. Sainer your preface of no prefaces. Thank you for that. Anyone else that would like to kind of voice it here or tell me if we want to move this on to email? Dr. Sainer?
I just had a question. We have the 4 committees. Where are we actually, are we talking both about appointments and committees?
I was just talking about committee of assignments.
Okay, because we skipped over appointments
Oh,
for NJSBA.
Oh, yes, we did. I
should we
apologize
just
for that. Thank you. We'll go
That's
back
okay.
to that.
Just lump them all together.
Yeah, well, let's do assignments, wrap up assignments, and then we'll go backwards. I apologize for that. Thank you. Mr. Miller?
I'd like to stay on community relations since we're, getting on a roll with a few things. So that would be nice. And I like the policy committee, but,
Okay.
I understand if you want to move me into another area, that's fine too.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Is there anyone who, yes.
I'm sorry, there's one more. We still have the personnel committee listed in the agenda. We're all in agreement that that committee will not exist.
Correct. Yes. Okay. So we're talking about finance and facilities. Is there anyone there that would like to move? Yes, Ms. Mullen.
I would like to stay in finance now that I'm asking a lot of questions. and
Getting
getting
it.
looking at the
getting
sheets,
into
so we
it.
might see the sheets.
You're
way.
looking forward to those sheets is what you're looking forward to.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Is from finance facilities, anyone else have any thoughts in regards to moving or staying? As is? Do you want to keep it as is? Yes. I see some nodding, agreeing. Yes. Any disagreement? Okay. All right. What about community relations? Like Mr. Miller was saying.
I like being on that since we had a background before with some of the issues, and it's positive.
Okay.
Unless somebody else would like to be on it, and then I'll shift wherever you need.
Right. That's, I want to make sure.
That's
Does anyone
okay.
feel
That's all right.
feel strongly about joining it? Okay, I see no heads. And then we'll maybe ask Ms. Geraldo if you can kind of fill in. Mr. Benjamin Robles was there, and perhaps maybe you can join if you're interested, and we can discuss more if you want to know more about that. Or you can actually speak to Mr. Miller and Ms. Mullen rather, and they'll tell you what it is all about.
That sounds good to me.
Good, and see if you're interested. Yes, Mr. Miller.
Yeah, it's a fun group. You want to be part of that one.
Okay, great. All right, and then curricular and co-curricular. Is there any change on there that we want? You're
I would
good.
like to stay there.
Okay, all
And I'll
right.
stay at the Morris County School Board meetings.
As Unless, okay, perfect. Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so that stays kind of the same. All right, is who else is part of that? I see you, Ms. Ruiz, 1 second. Ms. Sainer, you're part of co-curricular. Are you gonna stay? Would you like to move? Okay, and Ms.
I
Ruiz?
can be flexible.
I'm happy to stay as the New Jersey School Board Association representative. However, I have done that for 2 years. I enjoy it. Senator Sweeney and other politicians often visit. So if you're into politics, you might enjoy it. So I'm happy to give it up if someone else would like to take it on. There are just a few meetings and they're about like 8 a.m., 9 a.m., depending on if you're virtual or in person. And they're in Central Jersey. I think like an hour and a half drive from Dover. So it's not a lot. And the meetings in person are usually over by noon, and there's some coffee and snacks, and it's fun to see.
A lot of learning.
There's, well, not a lot of learning. It's more learning about Robert's Rules of Order, but it's more just voting on different resolutions and listening to politicians tell you about what's going on at the state level. So learning in that way, yes, but not like the traditional trainings we have.
Yes, no, that's what I meant. A lot of experience, a different, very different than what we experience here. And some of the meetings are on Saturdays, correct? Or
they're all on Saturdays.
They're all on Saturday.
Saturday morning commitment.
Yes. Someone was saying something?
I would stay on the educational services since I just started that. But even though you appoint people to it, they don't appoint until June. So it's a weird thing. So they have to swear me in every time.
Okay. Okay. So is anyone interested in the New Jersey School Boards Association role to give Ms. Ruiz a break if you desire? If you want to think about it, you can let me know within the next week or so that way we can finalize everything. Okay. If not, then Ms. Ruiz. Mm-hmm.
If she doesn't want to do it, I would do it.
Oh, great.
Okay. And just to clarify, I love doing it, but
then continue doing it.
So if you guys can kind of then touch base, let me know by the end of this week, the final person. All right.
I could be the alternate. For
Alternate, yeah.
Great. Thank you. Good plan. Thank you, Mr. Miller. All right. Then the Morris County School Boards Association, we have Ms. Nutting as the delegate who can be an alternate for that. And those meetings happen, Ms. Nutting, if you can tell us a little bit about them quickly, right? They happen once a month?
No, not once a month. It's actually every like 2-3 months. They don't do them too often. And it's usually a dinner that they'll do them at different places. I know some have been at Xeris, but lately they have been virtual meetings. They didn't have too many since we've been virtual. I think they've only had like 2. So,
okay,
yeah,
great.
And it's a lot of information about what's going on in Morris County. And you can attend other counties if you are interested to see what's going on in different counties in their education areas.
Perfect. Who would be interested to be an alternate for that? Ms. Viveros, great. Okay. Ms. Viveros will be then our alternate for the Morris County School Boards Association. Our legislative representative. So this role, has anyone completed this role before that can speak about it? I don't think we can. We have really used this. Mr. Crute, would you give us a description of it? Do you know?
I'm not really sure how the district has used that.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have historical background with that. Ms. Mullen?
I believe Mr. Scarnio might have been our legislative representative, and he would advocate for whatever we felt we wanted to, and then he would report back.
Right. I don't know, and that would be attending to the Morris County School Boards Association. And I know Ms. Dunning probably has done some of that as well, but we can certainly have like a specific person to push whatever we think, right, is important for our district. Yes, Ms. Ruiz.
I propose that we table that and learn more about it, check on our bylaws, because I remember Mr. Sarnio actually giving detailed reports about it and talking about legislation. And I'm not sure what, if any, meetings are attached to that position, what, if any, advocacy authority is attached to it. So I'd like to make sure that we're using it correctly or retire it if we're not using it. I think we
And in
should
the past, yeah, and in this past year, there was really no communication in regards to this role, or there was no activity, much activity in this role. I think, I don't think only for us, but I think in many districts because of what's going on.
It's interesting that it's listed under the Morris County School Boards Association. So they may have some guidance or, as to what the position is.
Perfect. So I'll reach out, I'll do some research and give you guys information and see if we can make a decision pretty soon, probably via email then. Perfect, thank you. Okay, educational service, we have Mr. Miller. Is there someone interested in being an alternate for that?
My understanding is they don't have alternates.
Oh,
It's one representative. Right? They get the package. They're the ones sworn in, Scott. There are no alternates.
And this is for the educational services is the transportation company, correct?
Well, it's a whole bunch of services that they try to share service. The next meeting, the agenda is going to actually go through all their services and the prices. So I'll make sure I'll share that when we get it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. All right, so no alternate, we can remove that from the agenda for the next month then, so it's not on there. And Dover Town Liaison Committee, and that's something that's I'm very happy that we are talking about this year again. Who would be interested in being that delegate?
And it usually is someone from community relations. We kind of grouped it all together.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. All right. Do you guys decide among yourself then who would be the delegate and let me know? And the alternate, please. Yep. Okay, perfect. Yep. And then the same thing with Mine Hill. Oh, Ms. Mullen.
Oh, sorry, there's just 3 of us on that committee. So the way we've been operating is tag team. So
if Melissa joins, it'd be 4 of us.
Okay, great. So, it was kind of pretty much who could attend the virtual meeting and then report back because of other committee meetings and other outside meetings. So we were just constantly trying to update each other.
So then if we can kind of put the Dover and the Mine Hill as, the community relations or the delegates in the alternative, I think that makes sense and you can tag team. Who are the 4? So it's Mr. Miller, Ms. Mullen, I see you, Ms. Ruiz, Ms. Giraldo, and who is the 4th person? Ms. Viveros. Okay, perfect. Okay. And Ms. Ruiz, you had a comment?
I wasn't sure where you were going with. I was just going to opine that the Community Relations Committee has seemed to have grown in its tasks. They're, going to the Mine Hill meeting, going to the Dover meeting, I think Victory Gardens as well. And so I was going to say that if we need to make any formal motion to expand the committee to 4 members, that I think that would be a good idea. It seems like there's a lot of work for that committee.
Yeah, and I know that when we started this last year, we really talked about them not having to meet on a monthly basis or anything like that formally as Dover board because they have so many meetings to attend to. But if they needed to, obviously they were welcome to touch base with administration. But as of this, it was always 4 from the beginning, I believe, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I apologize. I thought it was only 3.
No problem. I know so much things to keep ahead of. All right, so Mr. Minkowitz, do you think you have a written down kind of all what we discussed today? I tried to slow it down.
I do. Maybe I'll clear it with you.
Yes,
after please. Are we going to take a vote tonight or do you want to wait?
If everyone's comfortable, I think we could take a vote on what we discussed.
Okay.
That would mean we need a motion in a second. I don't see it in the agenda as a motion in a second. I see the roll call, but not the actual motion. I don't think we need those. Mr. Crew?
What I would just ask for is a motion to approve the assignments as discussed and get a second, and then you vote on that, and then you can work with Mr. Minkowitz to get the
added the details. I heard a comment, someone speaking. I see Ms. Ruiz, I see Dr. Sainer, and then Ms. Mullen.
I just wanted to confirm with Ms. Grisales that Mr. Miller and I would serve as NJSBA delegate and Mr. Miller would be the alternate. I think we were going to finalize, but I think we got that.
Correct. I think that was the final, yes. Okay, Dr. Sainer?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I just wanted clarification, and this is my own ignorance, and I just want to make sure that I understand it, that if we're still voting on what the president is allowed by our bylaws to assign, and that's just out of curiosity.
If the bylaws allow it, technically the president could just make the assignments. But if the president is comfortable with the board voting to confirm the assignments, I think that that's perfectly reasonable and acceptable, and it shows the support of the board for the for the action. Some boards, there are boards where the president makes the assignments and that's it. But there's nothing wrong with having the board approve it if that's
I think in this, yeah, I think in the spirit of always being a team and shared leadership, I think that's a good practice to continue, right? And Ms. Mullen, you also had your hand raised. Done
Okay.
deal? Okay, all right, Mr. Minkowitz.
I'd like to confirm then the other.
Yes, please.
Morris County School Boards, the delegate, Ms. Nutting, and the alternate, Ms. Viveros.
Correct.
Educational Services Commission delegate, Mr. Miller, and there's no alternate. Dover Town Liaison, Mr. Miller, Ms. Giraldo, Ms. Viveros, and Ms. Mullen,
Correct.
and same for Mine Hill.
And same for Victory Gardens,
Okay,
which we should add for our next organization meeting.
okay, thank you.
All right,
So we need a motion and a second.
correct. Is there a motion to approve what we discussed?
So moved.
I see Mr. Miller and I saw Ms. Viveros second. Perfect. Voice vote, or no, you need a roll call. Go ahead.
Roll call, Ms. Catano,
Yes.
Ms. Giraldo,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Mullen,
Yes.
Ms. Nutting,
Yes.
Ms. Ruiz,
Yes.
Dr. Sainer,
Yes.
Ms. Viveros,
Yes.
Ms. Grisales.
Yes. Thank you all for making this process so easy. I know that Mr. Minkowitz then sends out the schedules, right, or with Dr. McLaughlin's organization, and making sure we're not of the committees and also of the members, so that way we can have this all in writing. Okay, and then the committee of assignments, or the assignments of committees, actually. I think it's pretty done, Mr. Minkowitz. Do you have it all? I can touch.
I don't have it all. It sounds like everyone will remain, and I'll put Ms. Giraldo in Mr. Robles' place.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Is there a motion to approve the assignment of committees? Ms. Viveros moved. Ms.
Second.
Catano second. I saw Ms. Catano's hand first. Second. Thank you all. Are there any questions, comments? Okay, roll call, Mr. Minkowitz.
Ms. Catano,
Yes.
Ms. Giraldo,
Yes.
Mr. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Mullen,
Yes.
Ms. Nutting,
Yes.
Ms. Ruiz,
Yes.
Dr. Sainer,
Yes.
Ms. Viveros,
Yes.
Ms. Grisales.
Yes. Okay. Are there any communications that the board received? I have not received any board communications. Has anyone from the board or Dr. McLaughlin?
No.
No, no communications to report back. Okay. I did not receive any old business or new business. Is there any that the administration would like to put forth?
Not at this time.
Not at this time. Okay. Any board member? Yes, Ms. Ruiz?
Ms. Grisales, I did send an email to the administration and to the former and now current again, board president and vice president. So I do have 3 items.
One of the things we wanted to see if we could, there was some preparation or that needed for those topics. Do you think you have sufficient, or to put it off to the next regular meeting on the 19th?
I already emailed it and already received a response. So
Okay, perfect.
I think
Thank
it
you.
needs to be shared. Okay, so some of these are kind of old business, new business. So I'll start with that. We are as board members required to complete specific trainings and are of course invited to do even more trainings. I did complete the governance 4 training, and that is a training that focuses on recent law in education. And one of the cases that was discussed addressed summer reading and whether schools had the authority, when not written in policy, to assign summer reading. And ultimately it was yes. But the reason I'm bringing it up is because our board has addressed summer reading in the past. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that we do have a summer reading program up to the middle school and not the high school. So we've talked about in other sessions exploring with the parents and the guardians and the educators and the students whether we want a summer reading program, and if so, how it would look. And I know certainly I've expressed a hope that such a program would not be punitive, but rather motivate students to read over the summer. And I'm just wondering what, if any, plans our administration has to explore those options, or if it's already been decided, what, if any, summer reading programs exist for our high school students.
McLaughlin and Ms. Irigliano.
I think it'd be a great topic for the next curriculum committee meeting. I think it'd be a good place to explore it.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we need to think about too is we're really living in the short term right now. You know, we're not quite sure what the summer of 2021 is going to look like. So yeah, I think we definitely need more time to investigate that.
All right, so is the board comfortable with tasking the curriculum committee to explore this topic further? Yes, I see some nodding. Is there anyone? Okay. All right. Perfect. Okay. So if you can put on the agenda, Ms. Nutting, maybe if not this coming out, the other one, depending on what's already on the agenda item. Thank you.
And the second item is the one that I was so excited to receive a response about. We have talked about adverse childhood experiences and the COVID-19 related trauma that our community as a whole is suffering, but specifically some of our students are suffering, having specifically lost loved ones in their own family. And of course, the New Jersey School Boards Association workshop sessions of 2020 did discuss a lot about adverse childhood experiences and trauma. And our board president shared with us some of what she pulled out as highlights that she learned. And one that I found really interesting was a recommendation that we, quote, gather a baseline of past trauma, maybe through the use of Genesis, using numerical structure, not necessarily incident specific, to guide educators on what areas they should focus on with students. So I'm just wondering whether it's possible to construct such a baseline, and if so, how we would go about it, how we would use it. Is this some work that maybe Tiger Rap is already doing, or that the Rutgers program, our new Rutgers program, is already doing? And do we currently have any plans to offer workshops that might help increase our parents and our guardians and educators' ability to identify, understand, prevent, and intervene when a child is experiencing a mental health crisis, or when trauma might help to explain a child's behavior? Of course, our 2021 goals, which are supposed to be reviewed January 2021, do state that we plan to quote, expand, infuse, and reinforce programs that promote social emotional growth and provide support for students in each of the district schools. So I'm just hoping to get any update from our administration as to how we are addressing these needs.
As you know, we are concentrating on trauma-informed practices, especially at the middle school. That was our goal this year. It would be great to take on the whole district in one swoop and to try to put together baseline with data, but trauma-informed practices is an area that has to be done deliberately and has to be done in a manner that's really going to be effective. I'm not a big fan of one-shot workshops. they tend to be have low attendance, and people, even those who gather information from one-time events, tend not to carry that with them. So we're looking at a sustained work, and we did concentrate on the middle school because that was an area, as you know, that we identified as probably being the most needy. We've had, Tiger Wrap in place at the high school level, but we had an absence of a real intervention program at the middle school. Between the Rutgers behavioral program that we started this year and the work with trauma-informed practices that Ms. Rigliano has described, I think that we're making a good start. But this is certainly not going to be a one-year project. This is going to be done over time. We're going to grow in our understanding, work with staff, work with parents, work with students in these different facets. And sometimes, as some of you know, some students don't even know they've had trauma when they've had trauma. They carry it with them, but they may not be able to identify it. So that's part of the work. So we're definitely invested in it. It's occurring. I think that even with COVID and with remote learning, we've taken some very good real steps, and we'll be happy to update the board as promised, so that the board knows we're addressing these goals.
And a corollary of that, Ms. Grisales, we heard at the October 19th session that Dr. McLaughlin is familiar with responsive classroom and is willing to explore it for our district. So I'm wondering if there's any update on that.
I can update the board on that. So yes, we are scheduled in about 2 weeks. The first cohort will start their 4 days of training. Responsive classroom is a cost commitment for sure. So this will need to be phased in and rolled out as our budget cycles, move forward. But yes, we are committed to starting with our youngest learners in the elementary and making sure that our staff has a deeper knowledge of the interconnectedness of social emotional learning and academic achievement, because they are very much, you can't have one without a solid support of the other. So I know that the principals were very excited and we're championing the training as well. So we're off to start that in a couple weeks.
That's awesome. And my final point, we've shared before that the New Jersey State Bar Foundation, which is also association, so it's also NJSBA, but it's lawyers, not board members. They offer free programs and trainings and scholarships and grants and contests and competitions for school community. And I think it was the last regular session, if not the one before, we learned about the great achievements of our debate club at the school. Well, the New Jersey State Bar Foundation has a mock trial program. They have a speakers bureau where attorneys can come in and speak on any number of topics to students. And there's also free, intensive, and kind of programmatic, is that a word? Like several different programs, violence prevention and anti-bias trainings that I hope that we will take advantage of. And I'm just wondering if we have taken advantage of them already, or if there are plans to partner with the New Jersey State Bar Foundation for these free resources.
Absolutely, there are plans. Actually, I met today with Mrs. Gensinger, the social studies supervisor. She attended the Amistad Breaking Bias professional development, which was a 3-hour session. In that session, she learned that there are professional development grants. She will be applying for one of the professional development grants to hopefully bring the content of that session to the staff. In the minimal amount, it would be the staff at the social studies department, but we're looking to expand that and see if there's grant money available for it to be a more comprehensive training.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ruiz. Great topics, great questions, and great answers. It's so nice to hear the diversity in resources that this administration is bringing to the kids. So thank you. both for that and for your leadership, Dr. McLaughlin and Ms. Sirigliano, because I'm looking at you, but I don't realize that you don't know that I'm looking at you. Okay, now I lost my agenda. We were new business, old business, and now we're moving to our public. No, we're not having a second public, or are we?
Yes, we are.
No, okay, good.
Yep. So there's no one on the form for the second. We do have 2 attendees.
Did we lose Ms. Grisales?
I think so.
We did. Would it be okay if I read the statement while we're waiting for her to find her way back into the meeting? Okay. The board recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on social matters. To ensure fair and orderly expression of such comment, each statement shall be held to a time period of 3 minutes. Public comments limited to items on this agenda shall be, public comments about anything, shall be entertained for approximately 30 minutes upon the discretion of the presiding officer. Since this is a virtual meeting occurring during the COVID-19 shutdown, public comment has been solicited through the Google form on the district website. Please understand that public comment portions of our agenda are not structured as question and answer sessions, but rather they are offered as opportunities to share your thoughts with the board. The board may or may not respond to public comments. However, all comments are considered and will be investigated and addressed as appropriate. Please be courteous and mindful of the rights of others when providing comments. Comments may not be abusive, obscene, threatening, or irrelevant. Please understand that students and employees have specific legal and privacy protections. The board is not permitted to respond in public to comments about students or employees. Please be advised that you are commenting at your own risk. Any public comments that are directed at a particular individual or individuals could subject you to legal liability for defamation. Are there any public comments? There are none on the Google form. Would either of the attendees like to indicate that they have a comment by raising their hand? I don't.
No hands are raised.
Mr. Salas, would you like to take back control of the meeting?
No, you can continue it. I guess tonight's not my night with computers. Thanks again for your patience. It just died on me, so now I had the backup come on. So no public. All right, so then we are ready then to ask for a motion to close, right? I don't have the agenda in front of me. Perfect. All right. Is there any, is there a motion to close today as of 7:26? I see Ms. Viveros. Is there a second, please? I see Mr. Miller. Perfect. All in favor for closing?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. I will see you, we will see each other again on the 19th. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you for your work.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy
Same
New
to
Year.
you.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Feliz año.
Goodbye.